Hi, Daniel D, Ventriloquist here, and Hadley. Yes, I know you're there, Hadley. Just relax for a minute. I'll introduce you and get you to do some stuff in a little while. Okay, because we're actually talking today, Hadley, about presentation style. All right, yeah, presentation. What's that? Well, I'll explain it. Comfortable? Oh, yeah, comfortable. Yeah, thank you. That's very nice. That's good manners. It's nice when they have good manners. So, we talked about in our last video that we would come on to presentation style. Now, I can't tell you what your presentation style is going to be, and I certainly can't. No, that's right. Well, I mean, do I tell you what your presentation style should be? Well, you try, yes, but do you listen? No, not really. I do what I want. Yeah, all right. Now, presentation. I wrote a book about public speaking. Because public speaking apparently is the world's #1 fear. People are terrified of standing up and talking in front of other people. Now, puppetry is a fantastic way to overcome that fear, I think, because you're hiding behind a puppet. Look, and you can't even see his lips move. That's not really what I meant, Hadley. What I meant is that people are focusing on the puppet, not solely on you. But one of the key things about presenting to the public, speaking in public, with or without a puppet, is confidence. And you might not feel confident when you first do it. No, I don't. Yeah, all right, Hadley. Just sit still for a minute. Okay. And you might not feel confident when you first start. What are you doing? You said sit still. I'm sitting still. Well, your head's all over the place. I know, I'm looking around the room. Can you just sit still with your head still? That's better. It's a bit boring now. Well, listen to what I'm saying. Sorry. Listen to what I'm saying. And then you can join in later and it will make more sense. That'll be a thirst, won't it? Well, it will. Yes, exactly. Anyway, presentation. One of the things I always recommend to people, and you'll have seen people do this, they'll stand up and they'll say, because they're not very confident, and I don't really want to be there, they'll stand up and they'll say, oh, I'm not very good at this. I've never done this before. But the thing is, your audience does not know that you have never done something before. So don't act like you haven't. Act like you've done it 1,000 times, like it's second nature, like you've been practicing for hours, because you have. Act with confidence and you'll become more confident because you will do something and find that you've succeeded. So never apologise for being unrehearsed. Actually, there's only one answer to that, and that's rehearse. Rehearse completely until you're comfortable. Now, I'm not saying you won't get nervous. I still get nervous, and I don't know many performers that don't get a tiny bit nervous. And I've analysed that in the past, and when I wrote my public speaking book, I analysed it in that. And I think, certainly with me, and I believe with other people, you become nervous because you're afraid of doing something wrong. You might be afraid of people laughing at you. And so I get nervous before I go on stage because I'm afraid I'm going to forget a line. And I always tell people, and this counts for this as well, I always tell people to think about the worst possible thing that could happen. And I know it's not as simple as act confident and you'll be confident, but if you act confidently, you're more likely to come across as confidently. If you make apologies for how poor your presentation is going to be, or the fact that you haven't rehearsed enough, or you're not comfortable on stage, that's what people hear. If you walk on stage confident and say, or say to yourself at least, I'm really comfortable here, I'm going to do a great show, people are going to love me, and it's going to go well. That's a great attitude to have, and it is to some extent about attitude. As I say, you're not going to be totally without nerves. I still get nervous. Yeah, the worst thing that could happen, walk on stage, I drop my papers all over the place. I'm doing a talk, not a puppet presentation. Papers all over the place, my trousers fall down, everybody laughs at me and thinks I'm stupid. But if that's the worst thing that can happen, that will give them a story to tell for the rest of their lives. It gives me some hints about what I need to do better next time. Tighter belt, folder for the papers. And it also means that I'm not harmed, I'm not injured in any way. Doesn't matter. Move on. Try it again. Do it again. Don't apologise. You're there to entertain, to perform, to make people's lives more enjoyable, if you like. Or as Lena says in Singing in the Rain, their poor little humdrum lives make them slightly better. So go in with that attitude. You're there to entertain, and entertainers don't apologise as they walk on stage. They enjoy being there. Oh, also, if you get something wrong, this is one of my rules of thumb. If you get something wrong, your audience doesn't know that. They haven't written your script. They haven't read your script. They've never seen your script. They may or may not have seen you before. They haven't seen your puppet. It's a nice thing working with puppets, because puppets can make mistakes and get away with it. You can blame them. So don't worry about the fact that, or the possibility of making mistakes. Don't worry about that. So let's get on. That's all general stuff, whether you're speaking in public, whether you're acting, whether you're performing with a puppet, whether you're singing a song. That's relevant to all those things. But let's think now about ventriloquism. I'm not going to go into all the intricacies of how you get your puppet out of its bag, or do you walk in from the side of the stage with the puppet, or I'm not going to talk about those things, because that will actually vary, firstly depending on you and your show and how you're doing a show. Secondly, it will depend on your puppet, and thirdly, it might change from venue to venue, from show to show, depending on what you're doing. For example, I've got an Axtell cockatoo, and he sits on a third arm illusion, so it's quite tricky to put on and off when you're on stage. I do have a way of doing that, but when I first started using him, I walked on stage wearing that third arm illusion and the puppet, so I was all prepared. So I didn't get him out of a bag. Sometimes I'll get Hadley usually I'll get Hadley out of his box. If you've ever seen Nina Conti in one of her shows had a variety of bags all over the stage, each with a different puppet in, and she got a different one out of each bag. Personally, I wouldn't want to do that. I like everything close to me and easily accessible, and also a little bit hidden. I don't like people to see the behind the scenes workings, if you like, of where my puppets are coming from and how I'm going to be operating them. But that's what I mean. You need to develop your own style and your own way of bringing your puppet onto stage. Now, the important thing though, that I would recommend, whatever puppet you're using, however you introduce them onto the stage, the important thing I would recommend is that as soon as your hand is in your puppet, he comes to life. So you could, for example, let me put Hadley down for a second. He's totally inanimate now. You can't even see him. But I can assure you, he's totally inanimate. He's not saying anything. He's not doing anything. He's not speaking to you. He's not speaking to me. No interaction. As soon as I put my hand up his shirt, he needs to be alive. So what I'm saying is, don't pick up a puppet and then carry on talking to your audience. Hi, well, it's nice to be here today, and I've got a puppet with me, and we're going to do some ventriloquism. Yeah, all right? Oh, say something. Something. So your puppet is a person, whether it's a fish, a bird, a little boy. I use a tortoise in my shows. I've got a rabbit, a dog. As soon as you are in charge of your puppet, he needs to come to life. He doesn't have to be saying anything. Let's just try that again with a bit of life. So Hadley's down now. Totally active. Ladies and gentlemen, can I introduce you to... In fact, this is what I always do. Ladies and gentlemen, I've got a friend with me here today, and would you welcome him? He's a bit shy, but I know if you give him a warm welcome, he'll be up to the job. He'll love you. He'll love you. And that's what we need. So ladies and gentlemen, can we just practice? Can you say hello to Hadley? I'm going to count to 3. 1, 2, 3. Hello, Hadley. Fantastic. Although you weren't saying it, were you? Let's have you by yourself. 1, 2, 3. Hello, Hadley. Yeah? Fantastic. So ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to bring Hadley out now, and I want you to say, I'll count to 3 again if that helps, and I want you to say a big hello to Hadley. Here he is. Hadley! Oh, hello, hey! Oh, it's nice to be here, hey! See, Hadley's already moving, And actually, you could have done that without any speech at all. Shall we try again without it? Without it, can you do without speech? I don't think so. I know. Well, just try it and zip your mouth shut. Right, there you go. Ladies and gentlemen, Hadley. There's movement there. He's alive. He's not just sort of hanging there waiting for this. Oh, that looks horrible. For something to happen. So, make your puppet a living puppet. Everybody knows, this is the funny thing with ventriloquism, everybody knows you've got your hand up his back and you're operating his mouth with your hand, but it doesn't matter. It's an illusion. Do you remember Emu, Rod Hull, the great Rod Hull and Emu? Everybody knew that that was a false arm that went over Emu's back, but it didn't matter because it's what Emu did. That matter. You don't remember Emu, do you? No, I don't know what you're talking about. I'll find some YouTube videos. All right, okay. Are they funny? Yeah, they're really funny. Yeah, he was a great man, was Rod Hull. Anyway, let's get back to the present, shall we? So make your puppet live. One of the things about puppets is that there's got to be some movement all the time. Because again, let's think about you and how you interact with friends. When your friend is talking to you, you don't just sit there and go, waiting for your turn to speak. No, you interact. You might nod your head. You might interrupt. I never interrupt. You do interrupt. You just did it then. You might offer a suggestion or whatever. You're moving. You might even get up and walk somewhere else. But there's always movement. And what I want you to do actually is be an observer of people. I'm sure actually you're already one of those. But observe people. Observe how they interact. And we all do that differently. I often say that I'm sure I'm part Italian because I'm a very tactile person. I'll touch somebody on the shoulder or the arm or whatever. British people aren't supposed to do that, you know. But observe people, how they interact with each other. Also observe ventriloquists. What are their puppets doing when they're on stage? How are they interacting with them? And think for a moment about silence. Because Hadley can interact with you, the audience, without saying anything. And he'll do that. He'll laugh silently. And the audience will actually laugh because he's interacting with them. They respond to him. So think about how your puppet interacts with the audience. Think about how he interacts with you. When you talk to your friends, do you look over there? Yeah, lad, I was watching this really good programme last night on TV. No, you look at each other's eyes. Even when you're on the phone, you behave as though the person is in front of you. You've watched some, you do it yourself, I'm sure, but you talk to somebody on the phone, still doing the hand signals. They can't see you. No, they can't, but you still do it because that's how we communicate. So that's how I want you to do to do it with your puppet. Hadley actually uses his hands a lot, and we'll talk about Rod's another time in another session when we talk a bit more about puppetry. But Hadley he'll use his hands. He'll use them in the conversation, but he'll use his hands, or he'll shake his head and touch his head like that because he's frustrated about something. Oh no. Or he'll put his head in his hands because he's sad or thinking about or whatever it is. But he's mobile. He's using not just his head, but all parts of his body. So Hadley, by the way, Hadley, and we'll do a video about this, but Hadley always stands next to me on a stand, which is not unique, but it's unusual. A lot of puppets are seated on something. But Hadley stands, and he always has done, because I think it's nice that he has that interaction. And there have been times when I've positioned his feet differently so that he has a different effect, so he can lean on me when we're on the stand or when he's next to me on his stand. And those are the sorts of things that you can think about to make your act, your interaction with your puppet and your interaction with the audience slightly different to other people. So Hadley, yeah, are there any aspects of the act that we do that you particularly like? Well, you put me on the spot a bit. I know that. I'm sorry about that. But just off the top of your head, off the top of your head, what do you think? I've only got hair on my head. Oh, yes, I know that, but it's an expression, Hadley. Just think of something that you really like to do when you're on the stage. oh, I like to, well, I like a cup of tea, really. That, you know, they bring me a cup of tea. No, you don't. It's not nice. What? Yes, all right. And I don't like another thing. What's that? You keep me in the docks. He does. He keeps me in the docks, you know. He does. Are there any social workers out there? Stop it, please. Interaction. So that's really important. Work on that. I can't tell you how to do it because you need to develop your own style. But if you want any advice or any feedback, send me a little video and we can talk about it. I'll give you advice about what I think or tell you how I think you could develop your particular interaction or whatever. But everybody's different. Everybody does different things. And I have to say, I'll watch ventriloquists and there's things that I don't like. And there's other things I absolutely love. And I think, oh yeah, I like the way you've done that. Yeah, I really do. It's good, isn't it? It's really great, yeah. So that's how your presentation skills can be developed. So we're going to go on in the next video to think about voice and the differentiation between his voice and your voice. That's right, yeah. I know, okay. See you later then. See you later, bye.